Nathalie Chapron is about to come on and just blow your mind in terms of what you can do with your style, with your energy, with your brand, with how you show up in the world to really embody your greatest possible self and communicate that so that people are hungry to buy from you. Definitely stay tuned. It's going to be a powerful interview. What a great way to start off 2020. Before that, I'm talking to you because you're becoming your greatest possible self. You are here and now. Thank you so much for being here, for tuning in live or replay, and choosing to be your GPS. I acknowledge you. Keep showing up, keep taking the steps, and keep growing. Next up is the iTunes review of the week, and this week it is by, I believe it's Merritt and Pete. I'm going to go ahead and put that up on the screen. Pete and Merritt said, awesome. Fantastic content from experts about what it really takes to live a full, passionate, and purpose-driven life. Thank you, Chris, for all this fabulous work. Pete and Merritt, thank you so much for that review. If you want a chance to get shouted out on a future 12-hour live stream, marathon, and podcast all day long, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Greatest Possible Self on the Apple Podcast Store. You can find us there and let us know what you love, what you want to see more of, and how we can improve the show for you. We love that feedback, and we just love to know how you are receiving these interviews. Who are the guests that you really love? What are the topics that really make a difference for you, that really hit home, that really transform your life and help you become your GPS? I love to hear that feedback, so thank you so much in advance for doing it. I'm going to introduce Nathalie in just a second here. Before that, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes, because I know that this is going to be gold to help you amp up your image and impact even more lives with your platform, with your genius, with your gifts, with your business. So stay tuned all the way through till the end, because one idea has the power to change everything for you. Let's introduce Nathalie Chapron, C.B.I.C, who is an international speaker, teacher, and facilitator. She's a holistic healer turned intuitive image specialist. And Nathalie is the elite image consultant to some of the greatest transformational leaders of our time. She blends her inherited French aesthetics, powerful intuition, and formal training to help her clients align their inner essence with their outer image. After working with Nathalie, her clients experience a visible shift in their confidence, power, influence, magnetism, and attractiveness. And she recently shared the stage with Les Brown and Elizabeth Gilbert. She loves giving back, and in the last 3 years, she has gifted over $260,000 in scholarships to her 3-day live event, Enlightened Beauty Live Experience. She also loves taking women on divinely feminine retreats. The retreat includes shopping and a photo shoot in Paris. Paris, I think that's how you say it. I don't know. I'm not from there. A stay in a castle in the south of France and pilgrimage in the footsteps of Mary Magdalene. And we are just getting started with this French energy up in here. We're going to be having a lot of fun with Nathalie. And I want to see some thumbs up. I want to see some hearts out there in the comments. What are you most excited to learn about with this interview? And Nathalie, are you ready to rock the house, Superwoman?
I'm so ready.
Oh, shakalaka.
Thank
We
you,
are
Chris.
live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Thank you for being here. Just the work that you're doing in the world, especially just helping women shine and share their radiant self. I love what you're doing. I love when we got connected at Michael Neely's event, and just your energy just was so bright and brilliant and beautiful. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. It's such an honor, because we've been in conversation, for a while about it, and like today is the day. Today is the first day of 2020, right? It's like, oh my God. So yeah, there's just so much good energy, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to dive right into the theme of today, which is 2020, new year, new decade. What does that mean for you, Nathalie?
Well, the funny thing is, for me, is like, as of you're asking me when we were getting ready for the call, like, what's coming for you? And I actually yesterday said yes to a TV show. I'm literally so I'm like starting my own TV show. Yeah, we're launching in February, March. So that happened in the last couple of days, right? So I think 2020 is going to be amazing. So this is me. Yeah, this is me stepping more into my visibility and sharing my message more broadly to the world. So I'm super excited about that.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a show.
Thank
I
you.
love it. I see you as like a Marie Forleo, like, but of style and of image and of energy, just bringing that to the world. Like you're just like a boss babe, you know, like crushing it in a good way and doing it with love and power. It's awesome. So it's gold. So for people who are just connecting with
Yeah.
you and all the epic things that you're going to be doing in 2020, why don't you share a little bit more about how you serve your clients today?
Absolutely. So, and is it also a time where I can actually share my story,
Yeah.
at the beginning? So,
I
so
would love
people
to
have
do
context.
I would love to do a little elevator pitch and then just go straight into the story. Okay. So
Okay.
just do the overview and then
Got it.
while we're here, let's go.
Perfect. 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 Awesome. So, well, what I do is I really help people align their inner essence with their outer appearance in a
Mm,
nutshell.
yeah.
So it's starting from the energy and the essence, the inner part first,
Yeah.
and then bringing that out, bringing the light, bringing
Mm,
the essence out onto, in the adornment. And I work with men and women. I
mm,
do all my group work with women, but I do work with men privately as well. And so, because when we start from the inner, and we bring it out, we mirror what's already within us and we
mm,
bring it out on the outside, we show up more magnetically, we're more powerful, we're more radiant, we're more visible, and we're just it's easier for us to attract anything we desire, really. It's just
mm.
like we're becoming that really powerful magnet to everything we desire.
I love it. I love
That's what I
that
do.
you really tune into like the essence of being a human being, which is so different than, like we were talking about on our pre-interview call, so different than other stylists who are in the fashion industry, which I would say is very externally external validation driven and what other people want and think and what is in season and cool, and it's all a popularity
Right.
contest versus who are you at your core and how do you actually
That's
communicate
right.
that in a way that's authentic, congruent, and gets you more business and you feel great while you're doing it.
Yeah. That's right. Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Love
So
it.
let's go
You summed
back
it
into
up
that.
so well.
Let's go back into that journey. I know you're hungry to tell us about your journey. How did you get into fashion? How did you get into energy? Like where did it all begin for you?
Yeah, so I grew up in France, and there's a in the culture there's a sense of style, and people pay attention, right?
Yeah.
We're kind of known for that just internationally. But beyond that, it wasn't something that I really was passionate about.
Mhm.
I was not really into all the latest trends or all the designer brands or anything like that. It wasn't like that for me growing up.
Mhm.
And I've always been a bit of a healer, actually, and I didn't realize it until later on. But I'd had energy in my hands. I would put my hands on people to feel better, and I always had that desire to serve others. And so when I moved to the U.S. in my 20s, I became a massage therapist first, and then I became a Ayurvedic practitioner.
Mhm.
So that's what I did for many years. One other thing about my journey growing up in France that I want to share that's pretty significant for me was that actually I didn't appreciate my own beauty. I didn't appreciate my own image. In fact, I hated the way that I looked. I hated myself,
Mhm.
and so I was bulimic for 10 years when I was binging and purging once, at least once a day, sometimes several times a day,
Mhm.
and nobody knew. It was like my deep dark secret that I was so ashamed of. I just, not even my mom or my closest friends knew, and so I felt very isolated in that process. It was very painful,
Mhm.
and it was a very dark time in my life. So from age 16 to age 26. So once I moved here, what happened was, I dived into yoga and breath work and meditation and spirituality, and I healed myself of the bulimia, of the purging, the binging and purging every day, but I didn't, there was still that, like, I couldn't appreciate my own beauty still,
Mhm.
right? And it wasn't until later on I'd invested in a coaching program to learn how to become a public speaker for my Ayurvedic practice, right? Just I wanted to serve more people
Yeah.
because I was doing great work. I loved what I did. My clients got results, but I didn't have enough clients. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So financially I was struggling, and I was like, I gotta grow bigger here.
Yeah.
So I invested in this program, and we did an exercise that was, it totally changed my life. So I had to stand in front of three people in the
Mhm.
program, and they had to assess me on my image, and they had to tell me based on how I showed up, how much they thought I was worth per hour. Can you imagine? I mean, oh my God. My first thought was, I want to run out of the door. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I was like, I'm French. I pay attention. Like, I wasn't too worried about it. And so I was like, I got this, it's cool. So I stand up and they do the assessment. Now, at that time, as a health coach, I was already charging $100 to $150 an hour, right?
Yeah.
And so they did do the assessment and the results come in and they said to me, well, based on your image, we think you're worth $25 to $35 an hour. And I was like, what? Like, first of all, it was so painful to hear that
Wow.
because it was a blind spot for me.
Wow.
And I realized the importance of perceived value,
Wow.
right? Not our intrinsic value. We are all human beings. We're priceless. We're miracles, right? But the perceived value was the thing. And so it woke me up and I realized, oh my God, I got to pay attention to this, because I was like, oh my God, I am the brand of my business. People are investing in themselves through me and I have to address this. And right around that time, as fate would have it, I met a couple people in a training. And they walked into the room, Chris, and it was like there was something special about them. They were magnetic, they were powerful, they were radiant, and they were very financially successful. And I could tell there was that je ne sais quoi, and I was like, what is it about them? And I couldn't tell what it was, but it was significant. So I talked to them and I said, hey, what have you done? Like, how did you get to be like that? Because I want that.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we worked with this woman and she helped us align our inner essence with our outer appearance. She gave us a color palette. She did our design blueprint. She took us shopping. And now we have this congruency and this alignment.
Yeah.
And that's how we are like that. And I was like, okay, that's my next step. So I worked with this woman. And I remember being in the studio where I was receiving my colors, and she chose from thousands of colors. Like, you see a few of my colors here. I have over 30,000 colors that I work with now. But and I was seeing it's just a few. But I remember seeing my colors, Chris, and it was like I was crying because I could see my own beauty, because there it was out here. They were so beautiful and they felt so resonant with me. And my shapes too, because one of the things that I always thought that I had such fat cheeks. I was like, wow, my cheeks so fat, and I have a wide oval face. So that's my shape. So now I could be that's my shape. I'm not going to have a pointy face or whatever. Like, it's never going to happen. So I could accept myself, And then everything changed for me after that process. It was like all of a sudden I was getting speaking engagement opportunities, client referrals, other practitioners were sending me clients, and it was just my business took off, And I heard a voice during the process. I forgot to mention this. I heard a voice that said, you are going to bring this work to the world. And I was like, I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner. Like, I'm not into fashion. What? But the work, kept it was so transformational for me. And I realized that it was a missing link for so many healers, conscious people, holistic practitioners, people who are not going to go to a fashion stylist from New York who's all about the trend, but yet it's a critical part of being successful. And so I was like, yep, I answered the call. This is my calling, and here I am.
I love it. I love your journey of going from holistic healing and natural and energy, and having that foundation that transitions and says, hey, I know that this is a pain point for so many people who aren't able to communicate the spirit of their work, their mission, their purpose as effectively as they could. Or maybe like they don't have enough clients, or maybe they feel like the ceiling is on them, or maybe just deep down inside, they're not like appreciating their bald head or whatever it might be that is about them, right? Like, they may not be seeing that greatness within them. And I also love how you said you have like 30,000 colors that you work with. I think that's amazing, because I think when we have expertise, we have these distinctions, and someone's like, "How is there even 30,000 colors in the spectrum, in the rainbow? Rainbow, is that like, does it even exist?" And to you, you're like, "Oh, you bet your butt it exists, because each one of these colors has a specific meaning." And so I'm going to use the color, I'm going to use the shapes, the geometry, sacred geometry, like all these beautiful things, to be able to have you feel like, yes, I've finally found my home with my image, with my colors, with how I show up in the world.
Absolutely. You said it so beautifully. Yeah, they are. There are millions of colors, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
What is
And you know, when we're talking about color, what are we actually talking about? And that's the power of this work, is that it's vibration. We're talking about different frequencies of light.
Wow.
And so of course they have an impact. They have an impact in how we feel within our own body and our energy, right? And when we have alignment, because Mother Nature I'm gonna dive right into teaching, if that's cool with you, just going through. Okay. So Mother Nature, when she made us, right, she chose a certain color palette. So each one of us has 6 personal colors, which are your skin tone, your blush tone, your related red, because we all have blood, but it's not always a bright red. It could be a burgundy or a terracotta or a coral, depending on, you know, your pigments, right? You have eye color, hair color, and, you know, even though you don't have hair, you still have eyebrows, right? So you, and then your related white, which relates to the white of your eyes and the white of your teeth, right? So these 6 colors, skin tone, blush tone, related red, eye color, hair color, and white, they're the foundation of your color harmony. It's like your pigments are organized in a certain tonality, right? And so once we identify those 6 pigments, and also the type of light that you're connected to, which is really your essence. There's 4 types of lights that human beings are connected to. And so these are sunlight, twilight, firelight, and moonlight. So you have your light, and then it's translating through your own rainbow, if you will, which is your color palette. And so then what you're adorning yourself with, in terms of pigments and colors, it's either in vibrational resonance with you, or it's dissonant.
Wow.
Just like a symphony, if you were to write a symphony, if your color is like the melody, and then you have the accords, which is everything you're adorning yourself with, it's either a beautiful symphony or it's a cacophony, right? It's either harmonious or it's dissonant. There's really no other way. It's never neutral. It's like, and so if it's harmonious, what happens is because we live in a vibrational universe, your vibration gets amplified. And so your light gets brighter, your power gets brighter, your radiance. It's like you get seen. It's like there's something brighter about you without you having to do anything. You just show up, you know? And so what's cool about that is that people get to see you, right? And then the other aspect is, of course, your shapes, you know, your sacred geometry. Like you said, there's 8 principles of design when I work with my clients that I identify. You know, shapes, textures, contrast, visual weight, all kinds of stuff. And so again, we have congruency or we don't. And so when we have alignment between the inner and the outer, people trust us more because there's no dissonance, right? And our field is clear. So it's like the transmission, your message, what you're sharing with people, there's nothing distracting them of like, there's nothing speaking louder than you, or you're not fighting against anything else. Like sometimes people are like, oh, I love colors, so I want to wear bright colors, you know? But if the color is too bright for them, then they're competing against the color. Right. So they're like energetically, they're exhausted, they're tired. And then everything they're doing, like, you know, they have a speaking gig or they show up at a networking event or whatever they're doing to kind of build their business or, you know, their influence. It's like they're getting dismal results for all the effort they're putting in. And they're wondering why is it so hard? You know, well, it's like you're either striving to, yeah, and competing with, through all the stuff, or you're aligned and then you literally attract,
Wow.
right?
Oh
Because
my God.
what's a magnet? I'm gonna quiz you here, Chris. We'll see if you understand. So what's what is the difference between a regular piece of metal
Uh-huh.
that's not magnetic
Hmm.
and a magnet? What's the difference? Do you know?
A regular piece of metal and a magnet. So I know a magnet would have to have a north and a south pole. So it has some kind of charge of electrons that move along it, versus a piece of metal has the same charge from one end to the other. But I don't know what causes that charge.
You're so close. You're so close. You're great. You're great. You're doing great. So, the molecules have
Yeah.
polarity,
Yeah.
right? So, in a regular piece of metal, they're all over the place. There's
Mm,
absolutely no alignment.
mm,
And with a magnet, what happens is, it is uh, charged.
yeah.
And so, what happens is the all the positive poles are going one way,
Mhm.
all the negative poles are going the other way, which is what creates the polarity of the magnet, right?
Yeah.
And so the alignment is what creates the magnetic pole.
Wow.
That's what happens. So it's all
Wow.
about alignment. So I always say, well, is the magnet working really hard to attract the paper clip? Is it like, oh, I'm gonna attract the paper? No, it's simply aligned, and then boom, the paper clip comes, right?
Wow. So I
Yeah.
hear the alignment of the elements in the piece of metal, right? Because magnet is metal typically, right? I don't know what it's made of. I think is it nickel,
Yeah.
iron. Anyways, we don't have to get into the composition of it, but it's
No,
a certain element set of elements, versus a piece of metal is also a random set of elements, but they're not aligned. They're not communicating
that's
with each other
correct.
and flowing in a way that allows electricity to flow through or magnetism to flow through. So it's like a perfect example
That's
of
right.
our colors, our shapes, are the things, textures, all this stuff. Is it aligned? Is it allowing our energy, our light, our love, whatever it might be, our even our message, our words, our sound vibration? Is it reaching people congruently, effectively aligned, or is there clashing elements that's going all over the place?
Bingo. You
Yeah.
you got it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly right.
This is powerful. I love this. I love this stuff, and I love the analogies you use. I love, like, it's really simple the way you share it. I'm just like, man, I feel like I know so many podcasts who would love to have you on because they're spiritual, but you're like covering this area that almost no spiritual people cover. It's awesome. So I'm gonna be connecting
Right.
you. I'm gonna be connecting you. This is
Thank you.
this is
Thank
awesome.
you. I
um,
so appreciate it. I
yeah,
so
yeah,
appreciate it.
and
Because
so
the thing is, okay, with light workers, can I share
yeah,
this?
yeah,
Like light workers, the people who are doing the beautiful healing work, the conscious work, they're bringing love, they're bringing light. A lot of times, because this is an area that is not an area of interest for
yeah.
them,
Mm,
they haven't found the right mentor or the right teacher. They can't relate to that world at all. So it's an area that is neglected for
yeah,
them.
yeah.
And yet it's a critical part of their success and
Wow.
them actually being able to bring their medicine to the world, their gift to the world, their message, their healing, their love, their light, all of
Yeah,
that. And so for me, I'm like every single person that I can empower so they have that piece dialed in for, but where it feels good and it feels
mm,
authentic and it feels, that they can embody their true self,
yeah,
then it's like that's, I mean, what a gift that
yeah.
is. What
This is
I'm
this is
so grateful,
This
you
is
know.
so great. One idea that came to mind, I don't know if you're partnered up with anyone who's doing this, but I feel like a complementary kind of adjacent referral relationship you could create is on like feng shui and house design, sacred geometry, house design. I think your wardrobe, services would go really great, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Nathalie has helped me like 10x my income or whatever it might be. Just feel like I love myself and love my image and my life, all these great things. And then they would say, like, what's next to design and
Mm,
really really architect and align in my life. And one other thing I wanted to mention is a lot of the spiritual community, I think, tends to, we get value from within, that intrinsic value, which is important. It's important to be fulfilled from within first, but oftentimes they look to external things like money, houses, cars, whatever it might be, and even style and fashion, and they say, oh, I don't need that, all that I need is within. And it's like, that's partly true. Like, start from within, and like, how do you communicate the external? What's important to you? What do you manifest in the spaces around you? Do you have crystals? Do you have plants? Do you have these different things? Like, those are all external things that really empower us or disempower us. They either resonate or they don't resonate, and take away our power. So if we know what those are, then we can be empowered and be more happy, more fulfilled, more successful.
That's right. Brilliant. Absolutely. Yes. And I do have a woman, I recently met her at an event in Vancouver, BC, and she does what I do, but for space, for
Ah,
interiors, for she's amazing. Yeah.
I love it. I
So
love it.
we'll-
What do you
great
need to know,
idea.
Nathalie, as far as someone's brand? Like, do you look into their story, into their journey, or is it mainly through like physical stuff? Like, what are the elements that you pull from to really give them a powerful assessment?
Yeah. So there's a scale that I use.
Okay,
Hold on, I'm rearranging myself here.
pulling it out.
Cold, so covering my head. I'm in the forest in Northern California. It's cold. Um, what was I saying? Oh, okay. So there's a scale that we all fall on.
Mhm.
And that's one of the first things I look at when I talk to people. And so this scale is called the approachable versus formal scale.
Hmm.
And I teach that to all my clients. It's a starting point. And why that scale is critical is because depending on where we are on that scale, it has a certain impact in our results. So
Sure.
let me teach you what that means. So approachable, when I say approachable, I want you to think of Mr. or Mrs. Santa Claus, right?
Hmm.
They have rounded features, they have sweet energy, they're doing something really good in the world, and we feel really safe and happy around them,
Hmm.
right? On the other side of the scale, we have formal. And for that, for the end of the spectrum of formal, I want you to think of Dracula or Cruella de Vil, right? So, do you remember that character?
Yes.
Right. So you get the idea, the feeling. So with that design, with formal design, we have much more elongated or pointy or sharp features,
Hmm.
right? They don't feel safe. Energetically, of course, we want nothing to do with them. They're off-putting, right? So we just want to be as far away from them as possible.
Mm.
And naturally, based on our own essence and our own design elements, our colors, and their relationship to one another and our shapes, we fall on the scale somewhere between A and F.
Mm.
Okay, just naturally. And then what happens is the choices that we're making in our adornment, the clothing types, the colors, the shapes, the design elements, the structures of them, right, will either exacerbate where we already are, or they will help us to kind of mitigate and bring us to the middle, which is what we really want. Because
Mm.
approachability, what happens if you're approachable, people will usually tend to feel safe around you. Like they might even come up to you and tell you their life story, and just
Hmm.
like have fun with you, and because they feel this sense of safety. Um, but what happens with being approachable, and a lot of conscious, heartfelt people fall in that category, is that, okay, yeah, we're approachable and that's awesome. But the thing is, what's people will like take all the free gifts and all the free
Hmm.
advice and all the stuff, but they're not seeing you as the expert that
Wow.
can take them from point A to point B. So the respect is not there. So you want to have enough formality. Yes, you want to be approachable. That's a gift, but you want to have enough formality that people also see you as like, wow, okay, so I trust that if I hire her or him,
Mm.
he's gonna give me the results that he's promising me, right?
Wow.
So you want enough formality for that. And then with formal, we have a bit of a different situation. Formal, people tend to be a little bit more introverted, usually a little bit more guarded energetically, a little bit more cold, um, and so people might be a little bit intimidated and not sure. And so with someone who's more formal, we want to bring in some approachability in their clothing, in their adornment choices, so that people feel safe. Because when you're hiring someone, any one of us, when we're hiring someone, we want to, there's the know, like, and trust factor, right? And so you want to know them, of course. You want to like them, so approachability, and you want to trust them. So you need to have both elements. And so based on where you are in your design naturally, what you want to do is have access, bring yourself with your adornment to the middle of the scale, so that you have enough formality that people take you seriously and respect you, and enough approachability that they feel like, yeah, you're going to take good care of them and they're safe in your arms, right? In your sphere, in your.
Yeah, this is gold. I love it, and I'm gonna point out a couple notices. Tell me if I'm incorrect or correct. But I have a round. I would say I have a more round face. Maybe not. It's kind of long, kind of round. I don't know what the features are, but I see you have more of like a kind of sharp shoulder, and I know you mentioned like your face is more round, and also your earrings are longer, so it creates elongation. Like the zipper like creates, oh, okay, so I saw the shiny long part. I didn't see the round stuff. So it's okay, but it looks like long, it looks long from forward anyways. But then I see the zipper on your front, and I'm like, okay, I see maybe you're wanting to balance out the kind of long features. For me, would you say that I'm more like round, or is there a mix of long and round in my face? What would you say as far as me?
Yeah, you definitely don't have a round face,
No.
because your face would be like that. But you have a combination,
Uh-huh.
because you have more of an oval head, right?
Yeah.
Your forehead, and you don't have hair, right? So it's like you have that beautiful curve on top, but your jawline isn't. It's not round. I mean, it's not sharp either, but it's a little bit more, and so it's a combination. But you have angularity, but it's a soft one, right? So,
So cool.
yeah. And so the premise, great question. The premise of what I do is not necessarily, I mean, great observations about all this. Like if you see the shape of my earrings, they're mirroring in a way the shape of my face, right? In the scale of them. They're not teeny tiny little dainty ones, right? They're substantial, like my features, right? So that I could be mirrored. And so but the choice I'm making here with the structure in the shoulder, that gives credibility. That gives more credibility than if I didn't have that. Because I have a lot of roundness and I am approachable just generally. That's what, when I was an Ayurvedic practitioner in my linen, skirts, and, I remember, oh my God, before I knew this, I was invited to speak. This is a funny story. I was invited to speak at the San Jose University to do as a guest lecturer to teach Ayurveda. And I was living at an ashram at the time. So I was living in a yoga ashram in the mountains, right? And what you wear is that you wear linen, right? That's what, which wrinkles really easily. And of course, I had no concept of any of this, right? And so I go to teach, and I was to meet the professor that had invited me in her office beforehand, and, to make my way to the amphitheater. So I go there, and I'm wearing this long linen dress, which I wasn't on purpose wrinkled, but it was wrinkled because linen just wrinkles. And it was this light lavender kind of color. You know what I mean? Like very light color, which light colors are approachable. And I was young too, I was in my late 20s, I think, or early 30s. And so when I go to the professor's office, I'm like, hello. And she's like, yes. And she thought I was a student, like I had no credibility. No. And she was like, oh, you're the speaker. Oh, okay. And then she, when I told her who I was, she changed, but it was like the way she treated me. It was so funny. So anyway, needless to say, I did a great lecture, but I didn't get any leads from it or anything. That was, I didn't know back then what I was doing. So there you go.
That's I love it. I love it, Nathalie. I want to know for someone who's listening right now, let's say they're doing okay in business and making profit and doing okay. When do they know to adjust their image? When is it the right time? When is it a priority to come to you?
Well, here's my simple answer to that question. As a business owner, and as specifically a service-based professional,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Coach, consultant, we usually are not selling widgets. We're selling transformation of some kind, right? Consulting, coaching, mentoring. You are the brand of your business. And you've hired a web designer, I'm imagining, to work on your website, graphic designer for your logo. You've invested in time and energy in choosing colors and for your website, for your brand. But you are the brand. So if you haven't actually done this work with someone like me who does it in the way that I do it, which there's very few of us in the world doing it that way, it's time. It's like you get to do that, because it's going to elevate, propel you to another level of success. Even if you are already you're successful, then congratulations, that's amazing, and I'm so glad for you. And like it's going to set you apart in a different way, and take you to another level. So now is the time. I mean, that's really what I would say to everyone listening. It's like, I believe this was from the bottom of my heart. You know what I mean? Like, I wish everyone knew this.
Yeah.
Truly.
Well, I want to hear about some of the different types of women and men who you've worked with. Like, what do they come to you feeling or experiencing, and what's like the transformation afterwards? Like, tell us a little bit more about the people that you work with.
Yeah, so I have a different types of clienteles.
Sure.
I have the successful transformational leaders that big names that people would recognize on this call, who come to me. It's kind of like I'm well known in that circle, and so they come to me because they realize, they understand the importance of this work. And if they haven't had it done, and so this is what happens, right? So like I worked with somebody, and then of course we're all connected in masterminds and stuff like that, and then people be like, whoa, what happened to her? She worked with Nathalie. Oh, okay, I gotta do that. And so then little by little, they've all come to me. Oh, not all, but many. So I have that level of people that I've worked with, and I love it because they're impacting lots of other people. So it's awesome. They hire me originally to do their color palette, their design blueprint, to take them shopping, and also I design their outfits for their speaking. They do live events, right? So what are they going to wear day 1, day 2, day 3 when they're making their offer, right? So I had a client, Megan Neely, who she's a business coach, and she came to me. She was doing pretty well. She had done her first live event. She was her conversions were 30%, which is very decent. And then her launch was 100K afterwards, right? So she did good. And so her brand was like the badass boss, right? So she was wearing all black, and then the bright red lipstick and all that, cool. And she's beautiful. And so then when I worked with her, we identified, no, black was really not in her palette, actually. And so I gave her her beautiful color palette. She realized, okay, I got to change my brand. So she literally changed her brand colors for her website and everything, did another photo shoot, and then she had another live event right after that. I designed her outfits. What is she doing day 1, day 2, day 3, which colors, which design elements, so she could be more relatable and all those things. She went from 30% conversion to 70% at her event. And her launch went from 100K to $250,000.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So, that is significant. She was certainly happy she invested. And she,
Yeah.
she loved fashion. She actually, of all my clients, she was someone who actually, she loves designers. And so she was already paying attention, but she was doing it from an image that what she
Wow.
thought she needed to do, or what she thought was going to give her the results, as opposed to really being herself and
Wow.
being seen for who she really is. That was the biggest shift. I have other people who are coming to me. I know one of my clients, Sandy, um, came to me, and her whole life she heard, you got to be, she's a very powerful, very dynamic woman. And her whole life she heard from her family, you got to be more feminine, so
Mm.
wear more pink and be more feminine. And but she's an exotic autumn, like there's no pink in her palette whatsoever. So when I gave her a palette,
Mm.
she was like, she literally told me, she was like, that session with you was worth 100 hours, over 100 hours of therapy,
Wow.
because she finally had permission to be herself. And wearing pink was not going to make her feel more feminine. Like, pink is not her color at
Mm.
all, right? So does really well with the burnt oranges and the topaz and the embers and the
Mm.
browns and and so now she can be herself. And she also skyrocketed in her business. So people come to me for different reasons. A lot of times they they have something coming up. Maybe they have a photo shoot too, or like they're doing a launch, and they're needing to shoot video, or
Mhm.
they're rebranding or something. And so they're like, okay, image is important. And or they've seen, I get a lot of referrals from people that have seen their friends go through the process, and they're like, wow, like I want that.
Yeah,
So
that's
did that
awesome.
answer your question?
Yeah, it did. It did. Totally did. And I think I love how you said with Megan, she was already studying the fashion industry and like thinking, hey, I've put my time and energy into researching this stuff and looking at different outfits, trying on different things. Like I care. I think a lot of people can be at that point as well, saying, hey, I've put the time and energy in. I should know a thing or two, but then to come to you and say, hey, like what is my essence and how do I communicate that through fashion, through what I wear, through my outfits, through my wardrobe and colors that I use and all these beautiful things. I think that's just like next level. And it's so funny, like through my mind I was like, man, why isn't everyone taught this when we turn like 20, 30 years old, whatever it might be, so that we can just like be empowered in what we wear and just be self-expressed in that as well, and have our energy line up so that we're successful, we're happy, we're fulfilled, and we feel good about who we are. It's like, sucks that this isn't taught, but for the fashion industry that is all about consumerism and just go buy more stuff, like this is such a disruption. But I'm so grateful that we're getting this message out now and that you're here to share this, and you got a show coming up so that you can get it out to even more people. It's like perfect timing.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I call myself a fashion renegade.
Mm.
Like in a way anti-fashion industry,
Yeah.
because it is disempowering. It's
Yeah.
like the message we're getting is, okay, we're not enough, we always have to constantly consume more and buy more, and we're destroying the planet in the process with the fast fashion, which is
Mm.
cheaply made clothes that's using slave labor. I mean, it's just a mess.
Yeah.
It's very dark actually. And so it's like, when we actually take the power back, and we don't need that many clothes, and
Yeah.
when you're in your harmony, they all go together as part of your harmony. So you can
Mm.
mix and match really well. So it's more environmentally friendly. You feel better. People around you, literally, when you're in your essence and you're aligned, can breathe more deeply. Literally. Like, so it's also a service to others, not just ourselves. And there's
Mm.
another type of person, I want to mention, because for some people, they know they have a message. They know they're here to make a difference, right? And with women specifically, there's a certain, sometimes for many women, historically, being seen
Mhm.
has meant being unsafe, being hurt, perhaps, sometimes very deeply hurt. And so while there's a desire to shine and to be seen and to share the message, at the same time, there's fear of being hurt.
Mm.
And so hiding is actually what feels safer, but
Mm.
there's this push pull, you know. And so when we can do it in a way where it feels safe to be seen,
Mm.
and you can turn it up or down. It's like you don't always have to be like at your, you know, like I don't always walk around the house looking like this, right? Um
I love it.
although I love it, but you know, so you have choice, but it's conscious choice, and so
Yeah.
then you're empowered to, you know, visually communicate whatever it is that you're trying to communicate or want to communicate whenever you wish, and so
Yeah.
it's very, very empowering.
And Nathalie, what I also recognize is with women, there's this push pull to radiate their beauty, their essence, their love, their vibrancy, their feminine energy, and then the like needing to hide it because of taboos, because of society, because of wounds, traumas, etc. Men also have that, I think, as well. Like we want to be joyous. We want that little, for me, I want that little 6-year-old boy to come out and be joyful, be expressed, be connected to people. And a lot of society has programmed men to close up and to be stoic and to be cool and to have it all together. And that closes off the flow, cuts off the flow, like with women, of that alignment, of that essence to come through us and be able to share our gifts, and live true to ourselves, and really live our purpose.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's both genders. It's so true. I mean, I work more with women, so
Yeah.
and my own journey, I know, you know, but thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's true. It's men and women. We all need help in that department of really having, it's like permission to be who we are, because
Yep.
the other thing too is we get these messages growing up, and certain, and each seasonal essence has the messages they're getting, right? And
Mm.
so we make who we are wrong, and we want to be somebody that we're not,
Mm.
right? So for someone who's introverted and they see the, you know, like let's say a Summer who's usually more introverted, and they're soft and they're flowy, and you know, they're soft spoken,
Mm.
and then they see the Springs who are the, you know, alive, bubbly, flirtatious extroverts. You know, they can make friends with the wall. And so the Summer sees the Spring and is like, I want to be like that. But
Mm.
they can't, you know, it doesn't work. Their power comes from their softness
Wow.
and their quietness, because when they're, you know, they're like dropped into who they are, they're magnetic in that. But trying to be an extrovert when you're actually introverted, it doesn't match, it doesn't work. And so then people are like, what's wrong with her? It's like,
Mm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's incongruent.
Yeah.
So permission to be who we are at the core of this work, that's really what this is. And
Did
then
you
repeating
did
it in everything, and it's not just for our clothing. Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's for everything. It's like
yeah.
your home decor, your the car you're driving, how you do your makeup, like it's everything. Yeah.
So you knew you were a healer, early on in your journey. Um, did you have a curiosity to explore into different areas and kind of this openness to see where else would your gifts come out to be able to discover this? Or were you pretty set on, hey, this is how I'm going to serve the world, this is how I'm going to live my purpose? And then when you like found out, oh my gosh, like fashion and bringing my spiritual gifts through fashion, like that's how I'm going to really impact people, like were you pretty confident that that's like who you were going to be? Or were you open saying, hey, every day I'm going to take it as like one step at a time?
Yeah, no, I was really open. My journey was, I never knew that I would end up here, you know,
Yeah.
and so I knew that I had energy, healing energy in my hands. And so I knew, okay, I wanted to study massage therapy. So I did, and you know, massage therapy, but then energy work.
Yeah.
So that was clear. And then the Ayurveda was my next step, because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do more with my healing work. But of course, Ayurveda is a big umbrella that included, you know, aromatherapy and breath work and meditation and oils and, you know, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But then that happened afterwards. Yeah, no, I just stayed open, and I, you know, the thing with my path, and it's always evolving, you
Yeah.
know, this TV show thing, that's like just, I'm like, okay, you know, let's do this. But it's not just going to be makeovers. There will
Mm.
be some of that, but there's more to that, because when I take women in the caves of Mare Magdalene in France, you know, we we do the inner healing work, the spiritual work, the communing with the divine, and healing the feminine inside of us. um so I just kept saying I could just keep saying yes to the next step. And even that retreat, the way I created it was like, I really thought about, what do I love to do? Well, I love shopping in Paris. What's not
Yep.
to love about that?
Yep.
And I love doing a photo shoot in Paris. And I have my Lindsay Miller, who's my photographer. She's a dear friend, and we've been collaborating for 6 years now.
Wow.
She does all my photo shoots, and so I bring her over and we work with the women there. So I was like, I love doing those two things, but then I also love to go to the south of France and be in the caves and walk in the footsteps of Mary Magdalene. So let's just bridge the two and create a retreat where we do the glamour and then the spiritual work. I just made it up, because that's what I love to do. So, but here's the interesting thing: is some women come because they want to do the shopping and the photo shoot in Paris, and they're like, the caves, nah. And then they have their biggest breakthrough in the caves. And then some women are like, I want to come to the caves, the shopping in Paris, and then they have their biggest breakthrough in the shopping and the photo shoot, you see?
Wow.
But they would not necessarily come for the other thing, but because it's part of the retreat, and I'm like, you coming for the whole thing, they have their breakthrough.
That is so amazing. I love that you designed it based on what you would want to do first, and then over time you just like you said, oh my gosh, like other women want to do this too. Like of course, like if I love to do it, there's other people out there who want to do it too. I want to talk about speaking briefly because I know that's where I met you, and that's something that you do. That's a big part of what you do. Can you tell us a little bit more about your speaking career and how you've evolved over the years? Like what's important to you when you're getting on stage, when you're showing up for audiences? Tell us more about speaking.
I love speaking, as you can tell. I talk a lot. But um, um, I did it again. This wasn't something I thought I would be doing. But I realized that there was a lot of power in being able to show up on a stage and impact many people at the same time. So I learned that early on, and at first I'm an introvert. Actually, I'm pretty introverted. Like if you put me in a room full of strangers, I'm like not the one to go up to people and talking to people. I wait for them to come talk to me, Okay. But somehow on stage, I come alive. It's different. And so I started, really, it was like I learned how to do it, in a training program. And then after I went through my transformation, one of my seminar buddies who knows what I do, I wasn't speaking at the point. She said, hey, and she works with speakers. She teaches, people how to go speaking on stages. And I had two niches that I was contemplating at the beginning of starting this business. I was like, I could either work with women who are wanting to date or, start dating again and want to look and feel confident when they go dating, or I could work with entrepreneurs or speakers, right? And I chose speakers, but I was working with them one-on-one. So then this friend of mine just said, hey, come talk to my room full of speakers. And so I was like, awesome. So she believed in me. She gave me a chance, if you will. So I did that speaking gig. And then from there, every time I had a speaking gig, it was like I was getting other invitations. And so it just became this thing where I really haven't looked for a speaking gig. It's like the invitations have come to me. And so I think when you do something you're passionate about, and of course I studied how to do it, like I'm learning, I'm always, honing my craft. But you do what you're good at, you love it, you put your heart and soul into it, and then people recognize that, and then it just comes to you. You don't have to work so hard, but you have to look the part. That's the key. It really helps. Professional headshots, like you gotta have professional photography, and you have to do the image work. It's otherwise you're not that desirable person that people are like, ooh, I want her on my summit. They're like, I want her, but like her pictures are like, or her website is like, you know what I mean? Or even on your stage. Like
Yes.
if you're considering, no, I mean, I'm being serious. It's sad, but it's really true. Like if I have a stage, right? I do my live event
Yeah.
once a year, the Enlightened Beauty Live event.
Mhm.
I'm going to be very particular about who I invite on my stage.
Yeah.
They have to, be good speakers. And of course, they have to do good work and they have to have a good heart and integrity. And they have to show up in a way that my women will be like, wow, this is an incredible person. And she's aligned and not like, why is she wearing Birkenstocks? You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Mm.
I'm exaggerating, but it's like that. It has
Yes.
impact.
Yes, I think it's so
You know?
powerful what you're saying, because you got the opportunity, you got to speak on stages because of your alignment, your great energy, and how you showed up. You care. You brought your best self forward in everything that you did, and I also love that you understand the experience of being a speaker, and that allows you to serve high level service providers who are getting their message out to be able to amplify that even more. And I think having both of those with the energy experience, the fashion experience, and the speaking experience really allows you to come in and deliver the most value possible for people.
Yeah, I really care that, when I share, I'm sometimes actually I teach too much and then I don't leave enough time for my offer. Like I've been known to do that as a pattern because I care and I really want to deliver value.
Yeah.
So, I teach the scale and I give tips and things like that. But yeah, I definitely always want to add value to people's lives. And if nothing else, for them to really get how important this is. And this is not superficial. This
Mm.
is not, this is actually deeply spiritual and energetic, and every area of our lives. We don't even realize the power that this work has. We don't understand how powerful colors can be and
Mm.
shapes in our own vibration, the types of metals we're wearing. Like when we have, it's like when you're on the other side of it, it's easy to see
Mhm.
because you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is what I hear all the time. People are like, oh my God, I wish I had found you like years ago. Uh, but then when you're on the side of it, you're like, wow, like it's that powerful. So yeah,
Gold. I love it.
I want
Nathalie,
everyone
this
to
is
have it.
incredible. I want to wrap it up with a final takeaway, just driving the point home on especially how to be our most attractive and powerful self. If there's anything we didn't touch on yet, or you just want to recover what we've already talked about, it's been a powerful conversation. I love how practical it's all been. It's awesome stuff. So let's bring it home with that final takeaway.
Hmm. I think that the thing I want to share is that caring about the way that we adorn ourselves is actually a radical act of self-love,
Mm.
and it's important. And research is showing us that it doesn't just impact other people and their perception of who we are, and what doors will open for us
Mm.
or won't open for us based on how we're showing up. Yes, it does, it's doing that, but it also impacts our own well-being, our own performance, like, and even our own health, honestly.
Mm.
It's not something I talk about a lot, but imagine listening to heavy metal 24/7. You can't do that. You're
No,
gonna get sick.
no
But
bueno.
when you're wearing black and it's not in your palette, that's what happens in your field. It's like your system, it's like on high alert all the
Mm.
time and you can't really relax because you have this vibration in your field. So the takeaway point here is that it's it's vibrational, and you deserve to be in vibrational resonance with who you truly are. You get to be who you truly are and get to be celebrated, and you get to celebrate you, and then the world gets to celebrate you with you.
Mm.
You have to start with yourself, but you get to have that, and you get to be like the full expression of who you are. And the world is ready for that and wants
Yes.
that.
Yes, we are. Yes, you are. Yes, 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 yes. Nathalie, this is so beautiful. I want to tell our audience how they can connect with you. What do you got coming up? I know you're speaking in 2 weeks, so let's tell them about that. It's like you got so much. Your book's coming in the future. We're just gonna plant a seed for that one. But there's so much great stuff. Let's tell people immediately what they can do, and also if there's any other things that you want to mention on the horizon, just let us know.
Absolutely. So the gift I have for everyone, tangible, immediate, that they can get right away, is I created a it's an ebook. It's not very long. There's pictures that explain what to wear and on video. Because a lot of times now we're showing up online a lot more, and so there's some mistakes people make when they're speaking on video that really is sabotaging their sales and their credibility. And so I'm teaching you, based on your own design, some of the things you can do. It's very juicy. There's a lot of great information in there. And so I want to give that gift to everyone who's here. And you have that link available,
yes,
Chris, where you can post.
I can put it in the comments.
Perfect. So I highly recommend that you take me up on that offer. Obviously, it's free. My gift to you, and then that way you'll be also connected. You'll be on my list, and so I can update you of things that are coming up. So yes, I'm speaking in Colorado at well, you just interviewed Kelly, right, earlier today. Magnetize your man, right? So I'm speaking at her event there in 2 weeks. She's amazing. And after that, my TV show is launching end of February, early March.
Okay.
And that's called Enlightened Beauty TV show. And it's going to be on Roku, Amazon, Apple TV, those big channels. So that's exciting. I have a Facebook group for that. I could send you the link if people can want to join that. I literally just created it because I signed the contract today, Chris.
Wow.
Like, that's what I did on my New Year's. I was like, oh my God. So I'll send you the link for that. And then, my book will be coming out later this year, probably in the fall. And I have a live event also coming up sometime in May called Enlightened Beauty Live. So this is a 3-day live event that's for women only. Sorry, guys. I love you. And this is the container for women. I know. I work with kids privately. You can just connect with me and we'll have some one-on-one time. It's fun too.
Yes.
Promise.
Yes.
So that's going to be coming up in May. So there's a lot of happening this year. Yeah.
So awesome. I love it. Nathalie, you are just a gem, so bright, beautiful, radiant, and I love that you're helping people to shine their essence through, congruently align, and you're powerful.
Thank you. Oh, I forgot something. I forgot something really important. The other thing that is coming up literally just today is my new brand, my new website is finished. So it's myenlightenedbeauty.com. You go there, myenlightenedbeauty.com. You can see how beautiful it is. I'm very proud of it. So that there you go. So I'm starting 2020 pretty well, I think.
Whew, I love it. You are just like you're shining. You're so radiant. I was actually going to ask you about that, and since you dropped that website right at the end, My Enlightened Beauty. Why that phrase? I think it's amazing. It's gorgeous. Why?
Well, really, honestly, the funny thing is the brand is Enlightened Beauty, but Enlightened Beauty was taken by a spa, so I was like, well, then it's My Enlightened Beauty. So that's why. But Enlightened Beauty is because it's not just about, like, yes, it's beauty, but it's everything about it is conscious as well. Like even just the kind of like organic skincare and makeup and conscious, like everything is conscious, where we're, you're not doing toxic nail stuff, and it's beyond just the clothing. It's in alignment, but it's also eco-friendly and healthy at the same time, because I'm a healer, I told you, so health is important.
I love it.
So it's like holistically wholesome.
I love it. So it's awesome. It's perfect. It's perfect. We're laughing, running through the finish line of this interview. It's been a blast, Nathalie. Thank you so much. And again, you can go to www.myenlightenedbeauty.com. And that's enlightened with the ED at the end, enlightenedbeauty.com. Spelled how you think it's spelled. And they can search for your group. What is the group that they search for? What do they search for? One more time.
It's Enlightened Beauty TV show is the group.
Boom,
Enlightened Beauty TV show.
Love it.
I just created it. So yeah.
Cool.
the link. There isn't a chat in here, I don't think. Yeah,
It's
there's a
okay.
chat. I could put the link to it for you. Okay.
Yeah, we can put it in the comments. We'll put it on the show notes, all that great stuff. We will make it happen.
Perfect.
All right, got it.
Awesome.
So, Nathalie, thank you so much. Keep shining your light, and I'm looking forward to creating more magic together in 2020 and beyond.
Thank you for all that you're doing for creating this amazing container. You're an amazing interviewer. It was so much fun talking to you. I could do it all day long. I know we have to sign off, but thank you.
Thank you, Nathalie. We'll see you soon, okay?